Getting your mic to sound really good can be a challenge, but with these settings, this should help. So this video came from user Zelarax, who has the exact same microphone that I have, which is the Fifine K688. If you want to see my review of that, click the card in the top right corner after you've watched this. And they asked, how can I get this mic to sound good? I just can't get the settings right. So I'm here to show you my settings for this, and these might even work for a different microphone that you have. So I run everything through OBS, whether I'm streaming or just creating content. So this is kind of what mine looks like. Do not worry too much about it, but we're going to come on down here to my audio mixer. I'm going to right click on where my microphone is. You can see it acting up in the fader section. So I'm going to right click on that and go to filters. These are the filters that I use on my microphone. Again, this should work on a lot of USB microphones. They're the same ones I used on my previous mic, and it still sounded pretty good. But what I like to use is a noise suppression, a noise gate, compressor, a limiter, and an EQ. So for my noise suppression, you have two different options. You have the SPX, which is the low CPU usage, or the RN noise. Personally like the RN noise because it gives me the good quality. It does use a little bit more CPU usage, but if you have a pretty good CPU, you should be fine. My next plugin that I use is the noise gate, and my settings look something like this. So my closed threshold is at -24, while my open threshold is at -26. My attack is set at 25, my hold time is at 200, and then my release time is 150. Again, try these out and see if they work for you, but you might have to adjust stuff here and there. What I like to do is do a bunch of test recordings where I just talk and test my microphone and see how it works. Again, test it out, see what works. Next, I have my compressor. My ratio is set to 10/1. My threshold is set to -18, while my attack is set to 6 milliseconds. Release is at 60 milliseconds, and then my output gain, I just leave at 0. And then for the side chain ducking source, I have it set to none, but you can run it through whatever if you need it for those purposes. I personally do not. So my limiter, all that does is it just sets my volume at a certain level and it will not go past that. So if I end up screaming into my mic during a stream or reacting to something in a video, it's not going to cause my audience to rip their headphones out of their ears and scream at me. But my threshold is then set at -11.8, and then my release is at 60 milliseconds as well. Pretty standard. I didn't touch the release at all when I added this filter. I just lowered the dB to -11, which is a pretty good level for me. And then for my EQ, I have the Marvel GEQ plugin. There's a couple other ones that I have because I do create music on the side. Don't worry too much about this. I just go ahead and I open up this, and then I just kind of roll off a little bit of the low end and a little bit of the high end. You don't need to use an EQ. I've used this with and without, and for me, it just makes very subtle changes. Again, you don't need to use this, but go ahead, download it, install it, and see what you think. Regardless of what microphone you are using, I would definitely recommend a noise gate, noise suppression, and a limiter. Don't really need a compressor, but a compressor does help smooth a lot of stuff out, so it's definitely nice to have. And then again, the EQ is just for fine tuning and tweaking and subtle changes. You don't really need it, but teach their own. But if you guys found this helpful and you want to see more of my videos, I do a lot of tech reviews, so you can check out my latest one right here, or you can check out some of my other content on my main channel. But I'm going to get on out of here, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Always remember, the most important thing is to be odd and wash your hands. Peace, guys.